Yeah, so let me just charge my network thing. So I was saying I wanted us to introduce ourselves, your name, a brief background about yourself, why you chose to apply, like how you came to know about the program, if possible, why you chose to apply. And I'm sure you must have gone through the list of projects on the Outreachy page. So you can tell us what project you're interested in contributing, so I can get like an idea of like what is involved, some things you might meet, some difficulties you might meet, so you can be prepared, just to get a general idea. And then after introductions, I'll just give you an overview of the whole outreach process. And then we shall go into the main topic of today's call, which is how to go about this phase. And then if you have any questions, you can raise them and then I'll answer them. So starting from just anyone, like unmute, introduce yourself, would like to get to know you. Like, as Ugandans, it's rare for us. When I was in my cohort, it was only 3 Ugandans, me, some guy called Tushabe, and some babe called Harriet. We're only 3 Ugandans. But me and Tushabe, we used to communicate more. Harriet was a bit of a lone light, like it was hard to reach her, but we were very few Ugandans. So I'm just happy that all of you guys grew so you can stick together and help each other. It might be a bit difficult, like to approach like a Russian or a Chinese or something like that. So it's good to see there's a whole Ugandan community here. Yeah, so yeah, you guys, let's introduce ourselves. Keda, you can unmute your mic. I think your name is here. It's written as Keda. Gibbs, Isofel, guys, unmute and just say something brief. Jesse, Nagava, anyone?
Yeah, hello everyone. Yeah, I'm called Fiona Nagava.
No one? No, introduce themselves. Okay, it's okay.
No, I'm talking.
But you guys will meet each other in the contribution
Someone
phase.
Is speaking.
Even when you get
Someone is speaking.
Yeah, hello everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, I'm called Fiona Nagava. I'm a software engineer. Oh, I do software engineering. I'm in year 4, Makerere University. I'm again the vice president CIT. Then the motivation for applying to Outreach. Okay, for me, I think I was stuck. I was stuck with internship because of COVID-19 and what. So when I was searching online, I came up with Outreach. I was like, oh, let me just apply. So I applied. Good thing I passed the first phase. So I'm waiting for the second one. Then another thing. So me, I chose the project. It's Gondi Firefox project 1 and 2, but I even don't know how to start. So I was really confused. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Patience. The next person, you can tell us. Yeah, so Dora, Patience has just introduced herself. So anyone else can go next.
Yes, good evening, guys.
Good evening, Gibbs. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm good.
Okay,
Hi,
so
Gibbs.
hi, Debbie. How are you? Yeah, so I hope you guys can still hear me. Jerry, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, so Gibbs, I operate as a freelance web developer. Mostly I build websites and web applications, but then I was lacking on the open source aspect of things as to how to contribute to open source projects, how to learn from other developers, because most of the time I'm immersed within. I usually do most of the research myself and all that. So I wanted this opportunity to work with other people to pick up best practices from them, to learn from them, and also to gain something new, like knowledge-wise. So the projects I've been looking at there are certain projects, and Chris, it's more like a cloud image processor. So I was looking at picking like one project from Chris, and then I look at another project that's being offered that could also help me like to improve on the technical writing side of things. So that second one, I was still looking at it, but for the very first option, I was thinking about setting up like an environment for the Chris project, because I would need to put in place like Docker and then figure out how to contribute. So I was going through that phase. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Gibbs, for that. Deborah, can you hear us? Okay. I think she can't. But you can just go to the next person. I see we have anyone else can pick up the mic.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Bonita.
Okay, so I'm on the road, so there'll be a bit of background noise. But
Hi, Bonita.
hi. So I'm a Bonita, and I wrote my first line of code this year. And I found out about Outreachy from Jerry, actually. He told me about it, so I decided to apply and went through the first phase. I'm still trying to figure out which part of tech I'm interested in. And I think the Outreachy internship, like if I contribute to any of the projects, I'll be able to know what works for me and learn more about the different things that I could do.
Cool. Thank you, Bonita. On next, anyone else? We have there is Jesse, there is Realme 6 Pro, there is Rose. Nachijuka, are you speaking? Okay, anyone else?
Yes, please, hello.
We can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay. I am Natuzuka Isofil. I'm a computer science student at MAST in my final year. But as well, I'm a certified associate Python developer. So I learned to know about outreach internship from Debbie and open source. The first event we had when we were launching open source Kampala community, and I applied. And I'm on a contribution phase. So I'm looking about projects in line with Python. And I think from this meeting, I will get to know which one I will have to do best in order to get on to the next phase. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Nachijuka. Next. Who hasn't spoken? Realme 6 Pro. Then Jesse Andrews. Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
I can
we
hear
can
you.
hear you.
Okay, I seems these people are either unable to unmute. Oh, if you're speaking, you are muted.
They are
So one of the
shy.
two. Yeah, it could be that they are muted and they're speaking. So Jesse has unmuted.
Yes, so hello everyone. I am Jesse,
Yes.
and I have to say I learned about that Outreachy program through the OSCA group, and I haven't really explored the project so well, but it seemed to be something I would want to check out. So yeah, I am not so prepared to talk about that part of the project yet. Yeah, and I am currently a web developer doing small projects. I can't say I have done so much yet, and I hope I'll learn more through this. Nice to meet everyone here. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Jesse. So we have two people left, I guess. We have Realme 6 Pro and Rose. We're already 30 minutes into the hour.
Oh, wow, that's late.
So
Okay,
Realme 6
so
Pro
you guys, thanks
or
for
Rose?
introducing yourselves.
Okay.
I was just I was seeing if I should set up another laptop for backup just in case this one cuts off again. But I'm glad to hear that some people got to know about Outreachy through OSCA, because this is the core of what we are trying to achieve at OSCA Kampala. We are trying to preach the gospel of open source and try to expose these opportunities to us, the Uganda community. So when you guys say you heard about this from me or OSCA, like this actually makes me happy. So yeah, I hope you guys really get through. So we finished with the introductions. So I'm going to just brief you about the normal Outreachy process. So as you know, you first do the initial applications. That's where you submit. Jerry, can you hear me? I might be talking to myself. Jerry, please confirm that you can hear me. Jerry? Wow. Hello, can anyone hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, we can.
Wow, I freaked out for a second. Okay, because you know my laptop has a history of cutting. So anyway, yeah, so as I was saying, the usual Outreachy process. So as you know, initial application, that's where you submit, you write an essay or a bunch of essays. You guys go through that, congratulations. Now, this is the phase that you're going into right now is called the contribution phase. In my opinion, it's the toughest phase, very competitive. Like forget even going when you go through the next phase, which is the when you get paid. This phase is really tough, very competitive. Like if there is any time you need to give your all, this is the time, because there are so many other applicants who want this just as badly as you. They're willing to sacrifice that time, put in the hours to get through, because some projects, they only need one person, one intern or two interns. And I'm sure they're like, you can find that one project that like 500 people, okay, not 500, like 60 guys trying to get that one spot, not to discourage you guys or anything, but I'm trying to make you understand the amount. Like it's not chill, it's not like for chilling. You need to be competitive. Yeah. So after you get through, I'm going to teach you how to get through that process. After you get through the contribution the phase, I think it's like 1 month, if I'm not wrong. After that, you get an email from Outreachy if you've passed, or if you've not passed through. If you've passed through, they'll tell you now, just, we shall send you an email on how to start, like, just basically you go through the next phase, and then they send you emails, like, they'll tell you, send your tax number, send your bank account number. All those things are very exciting when you begin the actual work. Yeah, so those are the 3 phases: the initial applications, the contribution phase, and then the actual internship, yeah, which is 3 months. So let's go to the next slide. So the goal of this, the essence of this presentation, of this chat today, is to kind of give you tips on how to go about this contribution phase and how you guys can kill it. Yeah. So because I'm a past applicant, I do not have access to the Outreachy projects page. The Outreachy projects page is only available to people who have passed through the initial application. So for me, I'm already a past person, so my dashboard already has like records for my year, my cohort. So I don't know what projects there are. for this cohort. But I think, so I'm sure from what I remember, outreach requires you to, hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. You're just breaking a little.
Jerry, can you hear me?
Yes, we can
Just
hear
to make
you.
sure the network is coming in properly. Okay. So I was saying that it requires of you. They need you to, of course, for the contribution phase, you pick a project. So you pick one project or two projects, depending. The two projects, you pick two projects if you are absolutely sure you can handle two projects. But I would advise you to handle one project because there's a lot of time invested in understanding a project and like grasping it. So if you have two projects, it might be difficult to juggle both, but I'm not discouraging. If you can handle two projects, you can go ahead. So you pick a project, you start contributing to it basically. By contributing to it, what they mean is most projects have open issues. Let's say they use GitHub or GitLab to open issues. An issue is something that has to be done, like a to-do list. So if an issue is raised or open, it means that is something that needs to be worked on. So you as the intern, you have to look at that issue and then work on it. And then once you are done, you open a pull request. And once you open a pull request, your mentor or any of the community members will review your work, what you have done, what you have submitted. If it's good to go, they'll merge it and then integrate it into their repository. So that is a very good thing when they merge your pull request. So basically, what Outreachy considers a contribution is not you just opening an issue and saying, look, I've done something. What they consider a contribution is if you've opened a pull request, it has been looked at and it has been merged and approved, So you can look at 10 issues and work on 10 issues, but if none of them has been approved and merged by your mentor or any of the community members, then Outreachy cannot consider that as a contribution because you have done something and your community members have not seen it as a contribution, like it's not something good enough. So what we're trying to work towards here is not just for you to work on issues, but for you to work on them and get them to be merged into the project repository. That is our aim here in this Outreachy thing, in this contribution phase. So that's why they call it a contribution phase. You need to actually get your contributions approved and merged. So I know there are some communities that don't use GitHub or GitLab, but you can, if you understand the phenomenon and how it works, it's very similar. Basically, your contribution has to be approved and basically endorsed by the community. So when you're there, but most communities use GitHub and GitLab. Yeah. So that's what Outreachy requires of you. And so now you have a dashboard. Yes, you have a dashboard. What you're supposed to do is when you start working on an issue, you document that. Like right now, make sure you don't put a lot of detail, but make sure your descriptions are very good. Like for me, what I used to do, like I used to be like, I'm working on issue number 543. They want this to be done. I'm now currently working on it. Like I describe what I'm doing at the moment. Then I leave it there. Then I work on it. Then when I'm done and I've opened a pull request and they have merged it, I go back to my dashboard and update it like it has been merged. I'm sure there are different places in the dashboard where you update when you're working on an issue, when an issue has been merged. I've forgotten, but there are two different places. So my dashboard? My dashboard.
I thought you were sharing it.
No. You remember, because since I'm a past person, like I don't have access to those things right now. Because once you submit your application, it goes with all of those things that you documented. Like the Outreachy alumni, they review your application, they look at the contributions you've made. So you don't have access to that anymore once you have submitted. So right now, even if I go to my Outreachy dashboard, you won't see it. All those things. I tried to do it for the last cohort and I couldn't access anything because I'm a past person. But these guys, you guys, you know what I'm talking about. I'm sure you have looked at your dashboard and the areas that they need you to populate. So yeah, that's what Outreachy requires of you. So So what you really want to do here, what we're trying to work towards, is for you to stand out among other applications. So Outreachy states in their guidelines that for you to qualify to be considered for this Outreachy program, you need to have made at least one contribution. That's what it says there. So it's easy to get comfortable in saying, as long as one pull request has been merged, I'm kawa. Of course, yes, you have qualified, but remember there are hundreds of applicants trying to get the same thing you're trying to work for. So what we're trying to do is to stand out. So what you want to do is to work on as many issues as possible and get all of those issues merged. Yeah, like you need to, we're trying to work towards getting more than one issue merged and approved by the community and your mentor. So personally, I had worked on like 10 issues and all of them got merged. Well, like what are the chances? I know some communities, they are really tough with their approval process because they don't want to just merge anything, and that's understandable. So that means you have to start early, start working on your issues early. And if once you submit your requests and they review your work, like make changes here, make changes there, implement those changes quickly so that you get your issues merged as soon as possible and make more time to work on other issues. You get it? So we need to get those issues merged early and try to work on as many issues as possible until time for submitting your proposals. Yeah. So the most important thing here is to find the right, when you're selecting a project, I know some people haven't yet selected a project and some people have already selected a project, and that's a good thing. So if you haven't yet selected a project, please don't like get scared or anything. So some people rush into selecting a project because they want to waste time, but then sometimes the project might not be the right fit. So one of the most important things to really making it in this contribution phase is to get a project that really fits right within your skills. Don't just choose a project that you think might be absolutely sure like you can nail it. If you have looked at all of what I did, let me just give you what I did. I got a notebook and then I wrote all of the projects down that I thought I could do, because there was UI UX, I could do UI UX. There was documentation. I've been a writer for a very long time. I was like, I can do this. Then there was coding. I'm also a web developer. I can do a little bit of coding. But between UI UX, coding, and documentation, I was most talented in documentation because I'm very comfortable with writing. So I began to look at the requirements of those projects, what they needed me to have, what software they needed me to have. By the way, you have to look at the requirements of the projects. Don't just go into a project, the requirements, what do they need of you, how much time, all those things. So I looked at all of those requirements and then I began like canceling them, like this one I can't do. So I canceled UI UX, like this is too much for me, I can't do this. Then I remained with documentation and then coding. Then coding, I looked at the languages they needed. They were like, we need JavaScript, we need Word. I could I can write some JavaScript, but I'm not very good at it. And for open source organizations, I think you can't just be like a learner. You have to be like kind of good at what you're doing. So I was like, I canceled that one. So I ended up doing what? Documentation. So in your process of choosing a project that's right for you, you have to look at so many things like, what do they require of you? You should be good at JavaScript or CSS or something. Do you need to be good at some technology? Do they need you to have like a 1 terabyte storage on your computer? Even those system requirements are important. Yeah. So once you have seen that project requirements and you feel like the requirements, you have all of them, or you have at least 90% or 80%, and you feel in your heart like, I can do this, then you have chosen the right project for you. So once you have done that, then you begin contributing. The first thing you must do is join the communities, the community platforms. Try to get acquainted, know who your mentors are, or who your mentor is, get to know his name, how to contact him. Some mentors, they prefer to communicate on unofficial channels like WhatsApp. Some mentors prefer to be contacted on email. Some people, you can communicate to them on Slack or any of those official community channels. Get to know all of those things. how to, apart from your mentor, who are the other community members? How can you reach them? Yeah, is someone talking?
Someone
Oh,
was
okay.
joining. I think they were unmuted.
Oh, okay. How can you reach them? Things like that. Yeah, so you begin to know all of these things, but I'll get to that part later. So I finished part of getting a project that fits well. So I was just here. I had written, do not spend a lot of time choosing a project. Also, remember the contribution phase, I think, is 1 month. So if you spend 1 week choosing a project, you'll have only 3 weeks to contribute, and in the last week, you have to begin writing a proposal. So you need to be strategic, budget your time properly. Yeah? So you can, even if you're conflicted, that's okay, but try to be decisive as soon as possible in choosing a project, because you want to start working as soon as possible. So some people might feel like maybe they have more chances working on 2 projects. Like, if I get rejected on this project, maybe I'll get accepted for this one. That's also okay thinking. It's okay. So you can distribute your chances accordingly. But the trick in that is that you might, if you distribute your time and your effort, you might miss all the little details. Yeah. Like for me, if I have all of my attention centered on one project, I'll nail it. Any open issue, I'll do it. Like, I'll be up there. But then if you're distributing your time, it might be difficult to stand out in those things. Yeah. So you need to, if you're into projects, make sure you're absolutely sure you can tackle them. Like for me, so in my case, I actually first began contributing to TOR. I don't know if TOR is in this year's list of organizations, but I first began contributing to TOR. TOR is the anonymity organization. But while there, I felt the community was so competitive. I have to be honest. It was so competitive. There were Indians. You know how Indians are. Like, there was this one guy who was everywhere in the comment section. He was there in the pull requests. He was there. The guy is like, it's like for us, the rest of us who were sleeping, and the guy was awake 24/7. It's like he wasn't sleeping. When I said, let me go and look at the open issues, see what's there, see what I can work on, you already find that the guy has already opened up a pull request, like a merge request, like low and low. In addition to that, I used to tag the mentor all the time. Like, let's say at this person, how can I go about these things? Like, I used to ask them like those questions. But I meant they used to use their communication channel was called IRC. Some of you might encounter IRC in your projects. They don't use the normal channels that like Slack or what. IRC is like it's almost analog. There is no log of past communications. Once you get the chat, that is where you start. There is like, it's so weird, but you guys will see. So anyway, all of those things that I'm talking about, they factored into my decision to move to another project, because I felt like I felt like I didn't have competitive advantage in that whole project. So I began asking myself, should I consider moving to something else? Maybe there might be something, a project that I fit into better than TOR. So I began exploring. Of course, this happened a bit late. I shouldn't be looking for projects at that time. But then at that point, I felt like I had no other option. So I began Moja Global. I began looking at these other projects. But then I came across Mix. And yeah, Mix really felt like the right thing, because documentation, I mean, of course, other people were already.
Okay. The Dora's network has good enough. But as we wait for her to connect, I see she's on. Okay. She's switching back on.
No, wait. Jerry,
Yes.
Here, I've used. Okay. It had told me I had used 100%, but I think they were just lying.
Sorry.
Problems.
Okay. We have actually people joining in.
Okay.
Can you go ahead?
Yeah. You can see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, awesome. So where did you hear me? I was ranting on where did I stop? Where did you stop hearing me, Jerry?
Talking about the channels, the communication channels.
Hello?
You are talking about the communication
Jerry,
channels.
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. I don't know why you can't hear me, but I said you are talking about the communication channels. Hello.
Oh, can you hear me, Jerry?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, cool. Just wanted to confirm
Yeah,
that you're receiving
you are talking
my...
about the communication channels.
Oh, okay, yes. I was talking about IRC, right? Yeah. I've lost my train of
Yes.
thought now that I have it. Okay, cool. So as I was saying, yeah, I when I felt like I didn't have competitive advantage in tour, I joined Mix. That's when I joined Mix. I joined a bit late. I was worried about that, but then that meant I had to work at like twice as hard to be able to catch up and get noticed and have my pull requests smashed and all of
Okay. Whatever network you're using, Dora, that is not working out. Okay, you're off now. Anyway, so I think she's run out of something, but she's going to join back in a few. Let's wait. But she was talking about the communication channels, and there are different communication channels. So I'm going to just give a brief. I didn't participate in the outreach, but I participated in the open sum of code, and the communication channels are normally let me see. So there are different communication channels. There is Jita, there is Discord, there is it's best when I can share my screen. But Deborah is back. That's a good thing. So she's going to talk about those. And what I realized is communication is important because that's the only way you can get help in case you have challenges like installing certain software. Even the most basic that you think is really like you would definitely benefit when you ask the simplest that you may think later in future that it's dumb. You just keep asking. It's always a good thing to keep asking. Don't think you're going to know everything. There may be a bug, and asking it may actually make them realize that there is actually an issue with their software. And Deborah, are you back?
Yeah, I was seeing if I could transfer this to another computer, because I don't know if it's a computer issue or a network issue, but I'm trying to transfer the presentation to a different laptop so I can present from here. So
Okay,
you can still
okay, you can do that. Let me try to share my screen and just show you one of the communication channels. So I have quite a number of communication channels. Are you able to see my screen? I'm wondering what you guys are seeing. Do you see like what do you guys see?
We are seeing Discord.
Good. Yeah, so within the open sum of code, this was our communication channel. Discord. This is what we used for different communications. We had like questions, yeah, the general channel. But then I would say that there is Jita as another communication channel. And for Jita, I'm currently in a few, but this is how Jita would look like. So normally you can type here. So depending on whatever platform that is used by the organization, you would be able to use that. Yeah, I'm not signed in on this, but let me just see why. because I've used these channels to be able to ask for help, which is the most important aspect. Okay.
Jerry, I'm getting some feedback.
Sorry. Let me see why that is.
Jerry, it was because of me. Sorry about that. I've connected to a different PC now. I'm ready.
Cool. Yeah, so I was still telling you people, I was still telling guys that, so this was the channel for Jita. I was working with the Communica engine, something which is that side. So this was the communication channel. So it takes a lot, yeah, whatever small thing that you can always talk about. So this is how Jita would look like. Then there is element, element. So basically these are like WhatsApp. Element. I've not used IRC, but I'm thinking element is, so there is element. The whole point of why these people use these different channels is because they are easier for them to engage with the community other than connecting with WhatsApp and these other networks. So this is how element is. So you definitely have like a channel. So this is like a common base channel. This is like one of the other different things. And there is, so Slack is also a communication channel. Some people will use Slack, definitely. And there are a lot, there are tons. There is Zulip. Zulip is another channel. So it will definitely be up to you to determine, depending on the organization that you're working with. I want to know if Deb is back.
Jerry, I'm back.
Cool. Let me just stop sharing. Oh, like minimize. Let me stop sharing and yeah, I'm going to just, oh, okay, it's there. So I'm done. You can join again.
Okay. Yeah. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Awesome. You know, to be honest, Mark is the pits when it comes to I don't know, like video conferencing. In my experience, like it has been so unreliable. So I'm using a Windows computer now, so I guess this should be a smooth sail. I don't expect any interruptions again. Yeah. Just give me 2 seconds. Yeah, okay. So I had stopped on I was explaining the point of do not spend a lot of time choosing a project. So now we're moving on to introducing yourself to the community. So once you have joined the project and you have joined the community, let's say you have joined Zulip, you have joined Slack, the first thing that you want to do is to introduce yourself. Usually that's procedure. They tell you, Outreachy applicants for this year, please introduce yourself, where you come from, your country, what language you speak, your experience, your background, things like that. So you don't want to be the one in Kamoli, God, no one knows you. You know, first of all, remember the main thing we're trying to do here is to stand out. So, and usually, I think, okay, I don't have proof, but I think if you're from Uganda or Africa, I think it piques some people's interest. Like, you know, I'm from Uganda, I'm from Lusaka, I'm from Nigeria. Like it gets them interested. So first thing you do, hi, I'm Kakoza Jerry from Uganda, Kampala, Uganda. I have a background in UI UX, in documentation. I would love to work on this project. It has been an interest of mine from way back. I'm looking forward to learning from the community here. getting to know everyone here and learning as much as I can, like things like that. Just do due diligence. I think that's what they call it. So once you have introduced yourself, you want to begin establishing a relationship with your mentor. So by this, I mean, like, you remember, because your mentor at the end of the day is the one who approves you, like the one, your mentor is the one that says, I want Kakoza Jerry to be my intern for this project at the end of the day. So after everyone has submitted their application for that same project, the mentor will look through all those applications and be like, this guy, he stood out, he was active, he was communicative, he had good communication skills, his submissions and his pull requests were on point. Like, he looks at all of those things. So even if you're very good at like contributing and your pull requests were on point, at the end of the day, your mentors want someone who can communicate and stay in touch, and they want someone they can work with. If you're good and they can't access you when they need you, what is the use? Because there are sometimes when they need you, like on show, okay, I know that's not like procedure, but sometimes they can, if they ask you to do something, they want you to respond as soon as possible. Like, don't respond the next day, give them blue ticks, like, they want someone they can rely on. So communication is very, very important.
So Deborah, Bahati was asking, what are the very first steps if applications, when do they open?
Application.
Bahati was asking, what are the very first steps if applications, when do they open?
Which applications? What do they mean? Because you're already in the application phase. I mean, in the contribution phase. The contribution phase.
He's not in the contribution phase. He's just probably asking the general outlay of it.
Okay, Bahati. So for Outreachy, the first steps in applying is to submit your application, or to submit your essays. They have a template. When you go to outreachy.org, there's a template that they want you to fill in. Whereby they ask you a number of questions. First of all, you create an account on Outreachy. You log in. Once you log in, they'll ask you questions about, like all of you guys know, like those people who made it. They'll ask you.
Debbie, can you hear me?
I can.
Yes, we can hear you.
Bahati is complaining in the chats that she can't hear anything.
Bala Hansi. Yeah, but you can hear you.
But Jerry, why are you hearing me?
Yeah, we can hear you. It's probably on their end.
Yeah, because I've switched computers this time, and I think I'm very clear.
Okay.
Bahati,
just go ahead.
I think Bahati has a network issue. Sorry about that. Yeah. So now what I was trying to explain, he might not be able to get it.
It's Bala.
So anyway.
But just go ahead.
Okay. So I think for other people's sake who might also be curious, once you create your account, they ask you a couple of questions. They'll ask you what because Outreach is about giving opportunities to people who are underrepresented. Let's say if you're Muslim, if you're in a war-torn country like Syria, if you're Muslim, okay, if you're like transgender, you're in the LGBTQI community, like all of those people are underrepresented in their definition. So they ask you, how are you underrepresented? If you applied for a job, how would that underrepresentation affect you? Like, they basically, you make your case of how you underrepresented and why you deserve this chance to work in open source and get a stipend for it. That's basically what the application phase is, or the initial one is about. Yeah. Then once you get through, you got your contribution, you begin to contribute to the project of your choice, compete with other interns. Once your contributions stand out, you are approved and you are officially the intern for that project. That's basically how it works. So as I was saying, yeah, you get in touch with your mentor, let him know. So once you get in touch with your mentor, I was saying you have to keep in touch with him. You introduce yourself like, hi, because that's what I did. I was like, hi, I'm Deborah from Uganda. I'm excited. Of course, I introduced myself in a community channel whereby there are other interns, but then I also went into my mentor's DMs. I went into my mentor's DMs because I want him to know me. Like I want him to not just, of course you can stand out in the official channel and you don't need to DM him really. But for me, like I was desperate. Let me just say I was desperate. I DM'd him like, hi, like I was like, you know, my name is Deborah. I'm excited to be part of this project. So, but I didn't overdo it. Like I was like, I tried to be as subtle as possible. Yeah. So you just let him know. So if, for example, there are some projects, so there are some organizations like Mozilla or whichever that have like 3 projects at the same time. They have like a JavaScript project. They have a UI UX project. They have a documentation project. They have like 3 projects, and they want 1 intern for each project. Yeah. So now, like for Mix also had 3 projects. They had a documentation project. They had a UI UX project, and they had a C++ project. So I couldn't do C++, I won't lie. So those interns who are contributing to C++, like I felt like they were killing it, and I didn't know. Bala Hans is back. Bala, it's nice to see you back. Yeah, but if you have any questions, I'll answer them at the end. If you have any questions, Bala, I'll answer them at the end, if that's okay. So as I was saying, some projects have 3, some organizations have 3 projects. So you have to let the community know and your mentor know which one you're interested in contributing, so that they're not trying to guess like, okay, well, what pull request has this guy, what is this guy doing? Like try to let the community know. So yeah. But of course, when you contribute, when you open a pull request on GitHub, of course they'll know like you're contributing to this project. But then it's nice to just find your niche in the community as early as possible. Yeah, so once you've done that, so like I was saying, get to know your strong competitors and keep an eye on them. Keep an eye on them and learn from them. This is very important, you guys. So like I was saying, there was an Indian guy on the Tor project. This Indian guy was so competitive, like he was not sleeping. Every 2 seconds, the guy is opening a pull request. Every 2 seconds. So I was just, since I was trying to understand like, what is this guy doing that we're not doing? Like, what am I missing here? So I began to stalk the guy's actions. Like, I began stalking the guy's actions. So I realized, first of all, this guy was always online. Always online. He was never offline. Probably he had like a computer there. He never left his desk. So every time a new issue was opened, he got a notification. He would get it very quickly, work on it very quickly, and open a pull request. I think that's what he used to do. So I realized this guy was never offline. So I learned that from him. Always be online, always be in the channel, know what's happening, keep your head above water. If issues get opened, don't wait too long to start working on them. First of all, when you begin working on an issue, you claim it, because once you start working on that issue, other interns are not supposed to begin working on that issue as well. Of course, some communities allow that, but in the community I was working on, even in Torah, even in Mix, they were like, if someone has already begun working on an issue, why are you bothering? Like, chill, get another issue, you know? So this guy used to get the issues fast all the time. So I was like, okay, I learned that from him. So what else? Another thing I learned from him was, after he finished working on the issue, he would tag the mentor, like, let's say he has opened, there's an issue there. Of course, once you open a pull request, it's on a different side. Like, so on the issue comment section, he would tag at Gustavo, like at the mentor, like, please, I've finished working on the issue. The link to the pull request is here. He would paste the link to the pull request in the issue comment section. Like, how genius is that? So I was like, okay. So I think the guy, every time he would go to the issues sections, he would look at the comments like, oh, this guy worked on this. So every time I would go to the issues, I would find Gustavo is there. He has commented, finished, done. Pull request is here. The link is here. Go and review. Like, the guy was always on top of things. So I think that was his way of being competitive. So when you click the link to the pull request, you can see the guy has done a lot of work. The guy has done things. Yeah, anyway, so I learned that from him. So if you notice that there's some strong contenders, like, look at what they're doing. Don't be by yourself and believe you'll make it. Okay, you can make it on your own, of course, but it's just nice to learn from the people who are like outstanding. you can really learn some important things from them, like what I was mentioning. But those are also some tips that you can take for yourself. So if you see some strong competitors in the community, learn from them, make friends with them. Some applicants are very generous with their information. They're always willing to help. Like, if they notice that you're having a hard time, they'll be like, do this, do that, do this, no, don't do this. If you make a mistake, they'll correct you. Some people have very, very good hearts, but some people, they'll know that things and they'll not tell you because it's competitive. Yeah. So yeah, so if you come across those interns, you'll be like the ones who are willing to share. But if not, learn from people, learn from other interns. Yeah. So another thing is, so I had written here, it's not a part-time thing, it's competitive. So I joined Outreachy when it was lockdown, the first lockdown of December. School had closed, everything had closed, so I had a lot of time on my hands, basically. So that meant I was contributing 24/7. Like I was looking at open issues, I was tracking the communications, the channels, like I tried to stay on top of things. So if you have like a part-time job, usually in your application they ask you to specify that you have a part-time job, let us know in advance. Yeah, so that if you have a part-time job, that means the time that you have to dedicate to the project may be limited. So if you define that in your application, actually you can find a way to work around that. But if not, you have to be competitive. So if you have a part-time job, that's okay, but then you also remember, as you're working or doing something else, other interns, they are there contributing, getting issues, communicating. Interns are just there doing their things. So whenever you get that time, please, this is more like I had said in the beginning, for me this was more competitive than even the final phase. Final phase, you're the only one there. Who are you competing with? No one. You do things at your pace. As long as you deliver the goals on time, that's all that's required of you. But in this contribution phase, you're competing with very many people, so you have to make sure you're not like conflicting. You're usually not conflicting with other things, like you have very many commitments where you have to go somewhere. Like for me, it was lockdown, like I had said, so I had a lot of time to dedicate to contribution. So I think that also, I believe in a way that also really helped me, and I was able to contribute as much as I could. That's why I was able to have at least 10 pull crest merged by the end of the phase, the contribution phase. So learn how to use, here I've written, learn how to use the relevant communication channels as soon as possible. Some people will have difficulties in IRC. Even me, up to now, I still don't really know how to use IRC. Stay online so that you don't miss important announcements. So of course, as new joiners, as enthusiastic new interns, your mentors will keep communicating things like, if there's an important update, if they need interns to work on something. Sometimes they can announce, we've opened new issues, please go and work on some of them. You have to be on top of things and be fast there. So for example, if your community uses a platform like Slack or Zulip, there are mobile apps for that. Download the mobile app. Now for me, I have Zulip already downloaded. I have on my phone, I have Slack. So every time there was a communication in that channel, I got a notification like, these guys have communicated something. So if you only log into the communication channel on your laptop, you might miss some of those things because you're in the go, you're in the move, you might miss something. So if possible, if the communication channel has an app, download it so that you can stay on top of all of the communications. Yeah. So learn how to use them, the communication channels. Why I say this is because communities have guidelines. You don't just go and begin chatting anyhow. Yeah. For example, now for Zulip, they have a channel for Outreachy interns only, like just for Outreachy interns. Even the other community members, they don't come here. It's just for Outreachy interns. They have a channel for UI UX. They have a channel for their website. They have a channel. So when you're communicating something, you first have to think, where should I communicate this thing? Should I communicate it in the Outreachy channel, or in the general channel, or in the website channel? Like, you have to think about all of this, and you don't just go and chat anyhow. Of course, some channels are open, some communication platforms are open like that. but most times it will not be the case because I've joined Gita. Okay, Gita has just one channel. So that one they don't categorize the communications. But Zulip has channels, Slack has channels. So as a new Outreachy aspirant, you have to kind of learn those things. When you learn those things fast, it makes the community members feel like they can work with you. They don't want you to come and begin blundering, putting their own communications anywhere. Like if you're communicating things about the pull request in the website channel, things about outreach in the general channel, like you seem lost. So it makes them feel like, man, are you ever going to learn and catch up? So you have to make sure that in the communication channel, you know exactly what's going on, which channels are for which, if that is applicable to you, and you act accordingly. So if it's IRC, take time to learn how to use IRC. It was difficult for me, but it might be easy for you, hopefully. Yeah. So I have written here, this is the Hunger Games for newly opened issues. Like I was describing to you guys earlier. This guy from India, every time they open, the issue has just been opened by the mentor 2 seconds ago. The guy has already begun working on it. He has claimed it. It's now his. And once he has claimed it, you can't work on it because somebody else was already working on it. So this is the Hunger Games. And in this contribution phase, they know you guys are looking for issues to work on so that you can work on them, and then they can get merged and you have something to put on your dashboard, on your Outreachy dashboard. So the old issues that they've had from way back, they might be like complex issues because, I mean, where are they still open up to this time? An issue was opened in 2018, 2017. Why is it still open up now? That means it was a bit difficult and some people haven't yet like completed working on it. So usually in this contribution phase, mentors will deliberately open issues that they know you guys can work on. Like they call them, okay, let me say beginner friendly issues. So they know they're interns, they're willing to work, they're hungry for work. So they open issues and they'll be like, there's a mistake on this page, you can correct that mistake. There's a UI mistake, there's a documentation mistake, there's a programming, there's a bug here. So they'll open so many issues. And if you're lucky, they will label them. So for me, in my case, on GitHub, they created a label called Outreachy. So there were those issues that were for the core developer team, which I couldn't do. So they labeled those ones about what? They used to label them dev. And they were even color coded. They were labeled dev. Dev was red. Outreachy was green, because Outreachy has like a green logo or something like that. Yeah?
I think you can show them the labels, like some GitHub thing, if it didn't take a long time. Yeah,
okay.
Because it may be essential.
All right. Let me see. I was sharing the PowerPoint, but let me share my screen now. Let me just share my screen. Oh, wait. I'm using my work laptop. But okay, I think it will be able to.
Okay. So
no, it's okay.
Let me see whether I can get some labels here. I can just share them.
And show. Okay. I'm just going to open Chrome.
Yeah. So I can share. I haven't gotten Outreachy, but I've gotten other kinds
because it's a different laptop. I don't have my bookmarks here, so this might take a bit longer for me to get. I have to sign in.
So you don't need to do that. I can just share my screen and show that.
Okay.
Show them.
Now you guys know where I work. Okay, Jerry, share your screen.
Okay. Yep. So.
Oh yeah, perfect. So you can go
to just bring up the same.
Yeah.
And
you go to their issues.
Well, this is strange.
Yeah.
I don't know why Mix doesn't have an issues tab, but so there are labels here for the there are labels here, and you see there is this one. It's labeled Outreachy.
Outreachy is right there. Yeah.
But then normally, as you can see, there is a tab here called issues, and they are labeled. So you can see there is a label here: gold, good, first issue, enhancement. And when you tab here, I'm seeing, okay, they don't have Outreachy for this case. Yeah, but I see it's like someone was talking about Outreachy. Anyway, yeah, but this is how they would be. So basically, when you go to the issues tab, I don't know if you can hear me, you can just see the labels. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah. So of course,
Yeah.
organizations are different. The way they label their things. For this organization, they put good first issue for Outreachy applicants. But for me, for Mix, they were using Outreachy to indicate these are for Outreachy applicants. So some people might use beginner friendly. Some people might use easy. Different things, like they all mean the same thing. Something you can work with.
Yeah. So you can share your screen again.
Okay. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, Jerry. Logging into GitHub on this PC would have been a security issue. Anyway, so I have just seen from your screen share, Jerry, that I had forgotten to mention one thing. Before you even begin working on issues, most organizations have guidelines on how to start contributing. And those guidelines are different for every project. So the first thing that you want to do once you begin working on contributing is to first understand how do you make a contribution in that community. Some procedures for some communities are longer than others, so you have to take the time to understand. Now for Mix, I remember they required me to download the software, install it on my computer. I had to download some tools that's in the command line. Like I had to set up my environment very well. Then once my environment was set up, I had to learn the procedure for opening a pull request on the repository. I couldn't just open for I had to understand the procedures, who to tag. Once I submitted, like who is responsible for reviewing my pull request, like all those things are written in there. And sometimes you might find that they can create like an Outreachy page. I don't know if they call it a page on GitHub, whereby specifically those guidelines are for Outreachy applicants. Sometimes they can put it in the readme.md. So on the project repository, on the readme.md, they'll show you contribution guidelines, like what to do when you're contributing to something, to the project. Sometimes they can put it in the contributing.md. They all mean, okay, readme, they serve the same purpose. They're just all different.
I can show them something.
Okay, show them. By all means, go ahead. Let me stop sharing.
Okay. Let me share my screen. Okay, so let's just get to this something where I were. So there is a contributing.md file.
Yeah, that's the
so
one.
This is normally where they tell you how to contribute. So they will easily guide you on how to set up, how to run the server. These are like the basics, and how to start. Then later, some of them will have code of conduct. Yeah, let me go to a more understandable.
And it's really important. It's really important.
Well, this is not an Outreachy repository. So, yeah, this is not an Outreachy repository. So don't. Yeah, so you can see that they will be having, even the Outreachy repositories should be having a contributing guidelines. So they will tell you where to start, how to raise an issue. So there are different ways to contribute. So you can raise an issue, how to write a PR, they will give you the guidelines. Everything will be clearly laid out for most organizations. For some, you may be new to this and you may have to change some things for them, but this is like the starter. So the contributing.md file, then the channels themselves. So even the code of conduct, because you don't want to be doing shit that they don't allow. Yeah, so if you're having some time, you can read through the code of conduct just to be sure that you're working within what they need. So the README will also have other things about the organization and how to work with the repository itself, just to get an understanding of the project, of the company. You get it? Yeah. So Debbie, you can go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Jerry, for that. Yeah, so just to add on to that, I noticed during my contribution phase that some interns would join, and they would join and begin communicating before they have read the contribution guidelines and the code of conduct. So what happened was that once they joined, they begin asking, where do we begin? Like, you sound funny. You hear that? The repo has contribution guidelines. Where to start? It's very detailed. It has given you commands. Go into terminal, type this. It's very, now for you come into the channel, you haven't read the guidelines, you haven't read the project details. You begin saying, where do we start? Like, start from the repo, like start from the project information, start like and even the Outreachy project details actually has all of those things. They give you a link to the repository, the link to the communication channel, like they give you everything that you need to tackle that project. So before you begin asking, how do I set up, how do I begin contributing, first read the guidelines, first read the things that you're supposed to set up, like before you begin asking, because now you begin to look funny, and you might bias some people. So make sure you're prepared. Like, don't just come forward, come prepared, don't just ask. Yeah, so if you've read the guidelines and you have questions about the guidelines, then by all means go ahead and ask, but minimize embarrassment. Yeah. That's all I'm saying. So you find that mentors, they get frustrated when like 10 people or 20 people come. Hello, my name is Patel. I'm from India. Please kindly let me know where I can start. And you find there are 10 people asking the same thing. Hello, I'm Mark from the USA. Please let me know where I can start. Like, you guys all saying the same thing. The project information tells you all of those things. Go to the project repository, read the contribution guidelines, read the code of conduct, like all. That's where you start, basically. Anyway, that's what I was saying. Yeah. Let me just press present here. So another trick that could help you is for example, if you've joined like fairly late, and there have been so many communications in the channel that you have not read, first take the time to scroll through all of those communications in the channel. Go to the very beginning of the communication, especially if it's like a channel specifically for Outreachy applicants. Go to the very beginning. That's where you'll get everything. That's what I did for Miss, and it really, really helped me. Especially if someone's mic is on, especially if you're shy and you're not really sure how you sound, what will people think of you. What will really help you is if you go to the beginning of the communication channel, see what guys have been talking about, see what has been discussed, what has been communicated. Like the questions, there are very high chances that the questions that you want to ask have already been asked by other interns. So you don't need to do the asking again. So you can leverage off that. Scroll through to the beginning of the chat. You'll find your mentor has said, hello, welcome Outreachy applicants. It's nice to have you here. We have 3 projects. Choose any. Like then you find interns asking, what do we do now? So you begin to read everyone's chat, like, then the mentors will respond. You read all of those responses. You learn a lot. So for you, by the time you have a question, it will be very specific, like, okay, now I just want to know this little thing. Now I know everything, but just this one thing. So after you read the contribution guidelines, you can take time, read through the chat, see what has been communicated. Sometimes you might not even know you need some information, but once you read through the chat, like, oh, you pick up on a very important piece of communication that they have made in the channel. So that can be really helpful for you. And personally, for me, it was very helpful. And I was very shy. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know who the community members were, how they behaved, if they were rude, if they were nice. So reading through those chats really helped me to understand how the community was, who the members were, how they communicate, their style of communication. It really helped me a lot. Yeah. Yeah, so I had said here, update your Outreachy dashboard every time you work on an issue, because it's easy to forget, especially if you're working on like very many things. And remember, once you, towards the end of the contribution, there's a point whereby after you submitted your application, you're no longer allowed to add any other contributions, even if you have submitted your application now and they have merged your pull request like tomorrow. You can't add because they have removed edit access. Wait, they only allow you, they give you like 5 more days after you have submitted for you to add any more contributions that have been merged, because they understand that some projects took a little longer and they have a deadline. But then of course some mentors, some communities are different, so some merging things, some pull requests might have been merged after you have submitted, so that's acceptable. But by the time you submit your application, please try to endeavor that you have documented all of those issues, all of the work that you have done in your dashboard. So like I had advised earlier, once you begin working on something, document it. When it has been merged, come back, update. Yeah, you've picked on another issue, document it. So you just keep adding, just keep adding to your dashboard, just keep adding. Instead of doing everything at once, then you reach the end, you'll be like, now what did I do? You end up forgetting, you forget some things you worked on, and that can be a disadvantage for you, because you might have worked on something very big and you've forgotten to document it, and you end up missing out on opportunities. So next slide. Submit. So there's a deadline, like I had mentioned. Try to, whereby on your dashboard you document all the work you have done. Then require you to submit your proposal and that thing 3 days to the deadline, because they don't like doing things in a firefighting. They don't like firefighting. Even in this initial application, they told you submit your application for you to stand like higher chances. Submit your thing early, because Americans like they don't do things on time. So submit your proposal at least 3 days to the deadline, just to be safe. Might increase the chances. Then towards the end of the contribution, look out for good proposal ideas. So it's not enough for you to stand a chance to be chosen as an intern for the project. It's not enough for you to have made a ton of contributions. It's not enough. Okay, it really increases the chances by a very high percentage. But for you to really put the nail in the coffin, they require you to come up with a proposal on what project you're going to work on when they finally confirm you as an intern. Because you might have made very many contributions, but once you get confirmed as intern, what are you going to do? Mentors are not going to be there opening issues for you to work on. You need to have a goal that you're going to work on for the rest of the 3 months of the internship. You need to have a clearly defined goal, how you're going to go about them. Like, you need to have a plan. So as you keep working on your contributions, you will have a better understanding of what the project is about and what the project needs, or what the organization needs. So that could lead to you forming very good ideas for your proposals. In my case, I actually submitted 2 proposal ideas to my mentor, because they had 3 projects that they were working on: C++, UI, UX, and then documentation. So I submitted 2 proposals, and he was like, okay, now you need to submit both, because both of them are actually good. So that, coupled with all of the contributions I had made, I think it really gave me a very good chance. But I'm not saying make 2 proposals, just have a very good proposal idea. And of course, if you want to get ideas for what kind of proposal you want to submit for your application, you can look at their website, the organization's website, see what they are trying to work towards, see what their goals are. Sometimes they can put that on their website, like, we're trying to work towards this, or look at their open issues. You might find that there's a common theme with their open issues, like everyone has been trying to work towards something. So you can make that the goal of your internship. Like, in your internship, I will work on this. So just try to look out for ideas as you try to contribute on what proposal idea you're going to form, and then so that you don't begin thinking and feeling pressurized towards the end, like, contribution phase is done. I don't have a proposal. Now what do I do? You begin panicking and you submit like a totally lame idea, you know? So try to think around your proposal as you contribute. So sometimes if you fail to get an idea, you can ask your mentor. Another thing that helped me is I also consulted other open source communities. To be honest, I didn't have an idea. But then I am in OSCA. Okay, this is for Kampala, but there's OSCA Africa. There's OSCA Nigeria, Lusaka. So there's what channel do we use, Jerry? Discord. We have a Discord channel. So I just went into one of those. Yeah, I went into one of those channels and I just asked in that channel, like, hello guys, I'm working on this project. The project is about this. This is what I do. So my question is, if you were to make a contribution to the project, I'm looking for an idea that I can work on for 3 months. What ideas would you suggest for me? So people came up with ideas. Like I got really good suggestions. So it really helped me. Like you have to think out of the box, yeah? So if you have any such channels, any such communities, it might be a chance for you to really get an upper hand on what kind of proposal you want to submit. So ask your mentors, consult your mentors, consult your friends who are in a similar line of work, consult open source communities, look at websites, look at open issues. Like there are so many avenues for getting these ideas. So once you've done your proposal, before you submit it to Outreachy, try to discuss it with your mentor first. Like you don't want to submit a proposal, your mentor hasn't looked at it, and Outreachy is telling your mentor, your intern said they're going to work on this project, but your mentor is like, I'm not aware. This project is lame. We don't need this project. Like, so you don't want to be caught off guard, and you don't want to also catch your mentor off guard. Yeah. So discuss a project with your mentor before you submit it to Outreachy. I think it puts you in a safer position than just submitting some proposal that your mentor hasn't looked at. And usually they like to be kept in the loop. So you can discuss with your mentor or with the community. So I did both. I went to the community into the community channel, and I was like, hello, I'm thinking of working on this. I'm thinking of working on this project. I described to them the details, my timelines, what I'd work on. They were like, okay. So for the first 2 ideas that I had raised, they were like, they just shut them down. They were like, no, we don't need this. Think of something else. So you see, if I had just gone ahead and submitted those ideas, they would have just shut them down. But then like on my 3rd idea, they were like, okay, this could work. I contacted my mentor. They were like, yeah, this could work. So I submitted what they had approved. Yeah. So another tip is core community members are your best friends. What I mean by this is every community has there's a project lead, there's a community leader, the one who oversees all contributions from all community members. Basically, they coordinate the community and all of the projects of that organization. Yeah. So, but then besides that community leader, there are those other guys. Some of them they call them core developers. The guys who like stand beside the community leader. Like some of they have been, let's say, original members of the community. They've been there for a very long time, 8 years, 10 years. They know the project in and out. If you're an intern and you come and you get lost, they can guide you. If you come and lie to them, they will know you're lying. They will know you're bullshitting them. So, so there are those core community members. Yeah, most of them are very active in the channels. They're always communicating, discussing about things. So once you join the channels, the communication channels, you don't have to be limited to the outreach channel alone. You can go into those guest channels, see what they're discussing. You might benefit something. So also when they're reviewing pull requests of issues, it's not only your mentor who will approve and merge your pull request. It will also be those community members, because the mentor has a lot of work. He's handling a lot, basically. He's dealing with so much, so he can't always be there merging pull requests, trying to review, trying to correct. The community members will be there to help him. So you want to be friends with those guys. Yeah, make friends with them. I have to say, like,
sometimes
I made
if you're
friends.
lucky,
Yeah,
you will find a nice community. They're called maintainers for the repository.
actually,
Some
yeah,
are
you
not
got
good.
the right
Some
word.
just will be bullshit. They'll just not like your shit. Some you have to
And
be
some of
nice
them
to
are even
them.
tougher than your mentor. Some of them are tougher than the mentor. You'll be like, okay. And you don't want to, you shouldn't dismiss them, because at the end of the day, when they are trying to pick someone, an intern for their project, your mentor will go and consult with the other community members. Okay, from the interns that you have seen, who do you feel deserves this internship? So they'll begin assessing. So for you, you might have been very friendly with your mentor, but then with other community members, let's be like, I don't know that intern. What has that intern worked on? They'll not know you. Where did you come from? So you want to be friends with all of these other guys who are on that side. Some of them be quiet, but that's why I said you have to don't just limit your discussions to the DMs. Be communicating that channel so that they know you, and try to connect with those maintainers, those core community members. So once you establish a good relationship with them, like you go from there. So I remember when I used to open pull requests, I would tag the maintainers and my mentor. My mentor asked me, every pull request that you open, tag me in it. But then I would also tag those maintainers. So I think that helped in keeping them in the loop on what I was working on, and they were able to track my progress through the contribution phase. So I think by the time they came to deciding which intern should we keep, they were all familiar with me and my work, and I think that's why I got chosen. I don't know. So that's what I'm saying. Don't just try to befriend your mentor. Befriend every community member. Make friends with them. Get to know who the core guys are. The guys who make the decisions. The guys who have a heavy, the guys who can balance the skills. They can, if they say Jerry, their word means something. Yeah. Make friends with those guys. So as I was saying, better class. Don't attempt to work on issues for which pull requests have already been opened. Some of you will come late, you will see an issue, but you won't know that a pull request has already been opened for it. So you begin working on something somebody else has already begun working on. That puts you behind. You're investing time in something somebody has already begun working on. That gives you a disadvantage. So a trick that you can use is when you look at an issue and you don't see a linked pull request, first go to the pull request section and see if there is anything with that title. See if there's a pull request of that issue, see if there's something somebody else is working on that is tackling that issue. So another thing you can do is to ask in the channel, is somebody working on this issue? If nobody says anything, go ahead and work on it. But don't try to attempt something, an issue somebody has already begun working on. That makes you look funny and makes you look confused and lost, So like I had said earlier, communication skills are key. Don't just be reliable. If you open a pull request and your mentor reviews your pull request, by reviewing, I mean, let's say they go to your pull request and then they comment this is not right. They comment on your code, this code, there's a problem. We can't match this, correct it to this. Sometimes they can suggest edits, so you can approve those edits. If it's approving it, that's even easier. You don't have to think about the code yourself. Just approve edits, match them as soon as possible. So for me, I remember I used to remain online all the time. So if my mentor made a comment, I would go there as soon as possible, in seconds. Look at what I needed to do, what I needed to change, and then merge that. So it's good to be responsive and act like a reliable person. If they tell you to do something, act on it very fast. If they communicate something with you in the DMs or in the general channel, respond. Don't just keep quiet. They want to know if you have received the communication or not. So communication is really key. Don't just keep quiet. If you fear to look funny in front of the community members and the mentor, DM a fellow intern and try to get some tips. Some people might know more information than you. Consult your friends, yeah? So communication skills are key, basically. Respond to comments on your open issues. I think I've already said this. If they comment on your pull request, respond as soon as possible. Do what you're supposed to do. Implement the change that you've been asked to implement. merge it as soon as possible, because at the end of the day, we want to document in our dashboards as many merged pull requests as possible. The more merged pull requests you have, the more gravity your application holds, the more weight your application holds. If you have one, that's cool, but remember, there are very many other guys who have like 20, 10, so we just want to try to increase that number, yeah? So for you to be able to increase that number, when they tell you to change something, change it quickly and merge, you know? When they tell you to make a change, implement that change and move on to something else. That's what I'm trying to say, yeah. Yeah, I think, yeah, I thought I had more points, but I think that's it. So just back to the agenda, questions. So I think I've given you guys all of the tips that I used, that I have seen other people use, that have worked for them, that have worked for me. I hope you have taken notes. I remember when I was applying, I'm in a group called She Code Africa. It's spearheaded by very powerful Nigerian women, and they held a session very similar to this, whereby they dedicated it to teaching people how to make it in the Outreachy application, and they shared a lot of the tips that I'm sharing with you right now. They said exactly the same things. I made notes, I took notes, and I implemented those tips to the letter, and that's how I was able to make it. So I wish you guys the best of luck, and I hope you have also taken note of these things. And if you need to reach me to ask any questions, this is my email. But I'm in the WhatsApp group, I'm in the channels, I'm in the OSCA Kampala group. Like, just tag me at Debs. I'll be there. Like, I always respond. That's my email. Yeah, and you can also contact Jerry. He will let me know. Yeah, so I'm opening the conversation to questions. If you have any questions, please feel free to unmute. I'll answer them. Yeah.
Okay. So whoever is asking a question, feel free to talk to us. Unmute if you are speaking.
If you prefer, you can type the question in the chat. Rogue gives you a like, y'all blue tick your mentors. There are some people who are dry. The mentor will communicate something and they'll respond to the guy the next day. Like, that's ballsy, like, you know. But anyway, yeah. Hey guys, who has questions? Who has a question?
Hi, I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello.
I can hear you.
Hi. Yeah, I have a very bad internet, so I could only hear half of what you said. That's why I've been very quiet, because the internet was very bad here. So I can the signals are very distorted. So my question is, because since I missed half of what you said, my question is about updating.
Updating?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can now hear you.
Yes,
My
you
internet,
had
my
gone.
internet
Stopped
keeps
on updating.
logging me out.
Okay, you can ask. We can hear you now.
Okay, so my question is about the dashboard. So did you say that we should keep updating the dashboard, like whatever task I'm working on, whether I make whether it's merged or not, I should keep updating it. Is that what you said?
So what I meant by that is because what we're trying to achieve here is for you not to forget the issues that you have worked on, because if you wait until the end of the internship to update your dashboard, you might forget some very important things that you've worked on. So what I was suggesting is that in your dashboard, once you begin working on an issue, write it there. Like, I'm working on issue number 153. this issue requires me to do this and that. So once you have finished working on it and your mentors or the community members have matched it, you can go back into your dashboard and then update the description. Update the description to say this request has been merged, you know? So for you, whenever you start working on an issue and you always document that in your dashboard, it helps you to keep track of what you're working on, so that by the time by the time it comes for you to submit your application, you're not panicking to write everything that you've been working on. You're not panicking, you're not on pressure, you're just updating your descriptions, like, okay, on this issue it was merged, this issue was merged, this issue was tackled. Like the update will be an easier process than you writing everything from scratch. That was my suggestion.
I see. So it doesn't matter, like if the description is long, would it give a bad impression? Like, do we have to keep the description short, or we have to keep it like whenever I'm working, I just go and update. Whenever I just go and update. So what if the description gets long?
Oh, okay. So when you're updating those descriptions, don't write all of the nitty-gritties of what's going on. Just document the goal of the issue, and then document the end result and the fact that it has been merged or not. So Outreachy doesn't give a limit to the number of words that you can write in your description. It's fairly up to you. But also Outreachy is reviewing very many applications, so you don't want to write a lot and keep them waiting or whatever. So you can, I used to write about 4 to 5 lines per issue. 4 to 5 lines per issue. That's what I used to write. So you can make that. You know, people who wrote way less than I did, and they still, and there are people who used to write very comprehensive descriptions and they still made it. So just try to find a balance. Don't overwrite and don't put very little descriptions. Try to balance. Try to make it.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I get it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah. So the floor is open. Anybody can ask a question. Nagaba, you had mentioned that you haven't yet chosen a project. I hope you have learned how to go about that. Just try to find a project that fits well within your skills. And if you're confused between 5 or 4 projects, just do, like, I don't know what the English word is for, whereby you cancel the one that you feel like would be the least applicable. Like, make a list. You have like a 5 options. Try to weigh between, like, begin canceling them. Like, Jerry, what's the word? I've forgotten.
Elimination.
Elimination. Thank you. Oh God. Elimination. Eliminate the ones that you feel would be least applicable to you. So at the end of the day, the one that you finalize on is probably the right project for you. Yeah. So the elimination method it really worked for me on deciding a project. So I remember, even if I had begun on tour, mix in my list of options was like my second last before I canceled it. So once I felt like I wasn't fitting well within tour, I just moved on to my other option, which was mix. So yeah. You guys, who has a question? I'm here for you guys. I'm here for you guys. So you can reach me on any platform: Twitter, Discord, WhatsApp. I'm always online. And I wish you guys the best of luck. It's not as tough as I might have made it sound, but of course you have to be competitive. You know what's there, the 100 applicants. You need to stand out. You need to have competitive advantage, and that's important.
Okay, thank you, Debbie. I think people are done asking questions. So probably I can just say that we will be also having an event as a chapter on Thursday at around East African time, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. if you're interested. So you'll learn about open source, what it is, and also how to make contributions. Then the following day, it will be for those interested in machine learning. But the first day is for basically open source. So I encourage you guys all join because we'll be having a guest speaker from Kenya. Yeah, he's good. So he will definitely give a guideline of how to contribute. I will take you through what open source is, the basics, and get you familiar with what you are going to be dealing with, because I know it's the first time for most of you. So it is better when you are learning, you know the components that connect the different open source projects and understanding the entire workflow. Let me just share it on the screen. Share it. And thank you, Debbie, for share it on the screen, present. Yep, so this is it. Thank you everyone who has been able to join. We are going to be sharing the recording. We're going to be able to post it on YouTube, then share the link for those who want to recall and review some things. Once again, in case you have any questions, you can feel free to reach out. Everyone here is available to help when you have any questions. Okay, guys. And on that, since we are concluding, I'd like to thank you for joining.